Lewis. As the bombast of the headlines dies away, you start our evening's first major theme with Keir Starmer promising shock and awe.
Yes, this is Keir Starmer. He vows to rip out bureaucracy to aid growth at Investment Summit. And this is like what Nick was talking about. It's bureaucracy is a major... First of all, having this major fight, you know... Basically, he's a socialist. He's a horrible person, and for him to have an investment summit is a bit odd. But he says he's going to rip out bureaucracy that blocks investment, and I think the reason he stresses that is because he doesn't want to rip out the taxes. So he just says we'll rip out the paperwork. But that's really hard to tell. And actually, I'm in favor of paperwork because you don't want them building factories in the middle of beautiful scenic areas. You don't want them being horrible to employees. I know.
Well, it's obviously a balance, isn't it? But every new government that comes in, whether it be Labour or Conservative, always claims that they're going to tear up all the encumbrances that have just unnecessarily clogged the smooth-running wheels. Nick?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the one positive. There's going to be this formal edict to the Financial Conduct Authority telling them they have to justify their bureaucracy, basically. They're a constant source of frustration to ministers, is the quote. And they need to sort of prove they're acting to promote the expansion of UK financial services. So it's like making people prove they're not just causing unnecessary fuss.
Yeah.
But it's all very Starmer language. We'll end, chop and change. It's just so Starmer. Policy churn and sticking plasters. That's all he ever talks about. But it is hard to believe Starmer's going to be really pro-growth, isn't it? I mean, the capital gains thing and then the P&O stuff, they managed to alienate them. I know that wasn't Starmer, that was Reeves and Raynham and Hay.
Musk shortly as well.
And then the making employees, police banter, as we've also seen. They're going to be responsible for the banter of the people in the pub and so on. Hopefully they'll be pro-growth. I'd love to see it, but let's see.
He did actually say that, the first test of... I'm trying to find the quote here. The first test of regulation was growth. Well, it clearly isn't, is it? I mean, regulation is not designed to promote growth. It is designed to mitigate
to hamper
growth,
Yes, exactly. And the thing is, Starmer, he's never had like a job. Even I have had jobs where they say you got to make some money, and if you don't make some money,
and the fact that you were sat from the mall and escorted away by the police is immaterial.
No, it's totally material. I wouldn't give me a job. I wouldn't give me a job doing this.
Thank you.
In those days, regulations barely existed.
Can we quote that and send that to some people in an email?
No, don't leave that pork on the windowsill.
I was kidding about that.
Over to the Sun, Nick. A Hove man has clarified the government's position on Elon Musk, and it is positive, I'm pleased to see.
Yeah, Elon Musk is very, very welcome in Britain, says Cabinet Minister, after Tesla boss online spat with Keir Starmer. I guess Tesla bosses, there's a little possessive apostrophe sneaking in there. So you may have seen that disastrous interview with Jonathan Reynolds, business secretary, on Trevor Phillips, where he just sounded like he was sort of anti-Musk. And he tried to sort of fob it off and say, well, there's lots of people who'd like to invest and thousands of people. And Trevor Phillips was going, this is the richest man in the world. This is not thousands of people. So it was idiotic. And Starmer managed to alienate the richest man in the world within sort of minutes of becoming Prime Minister. And
that was during the riots and so on.
During the riots, initially, and the two-tier Keir stuff. And the suspicion, therefore, was that he was not invited, Musk, to this conference, this International Investment Summit, due to this bad blood. But they're saying that's not the case. And they sort of sent out Science Secretary Peter Carl to say he's very, very welcome.
He's the Hove man, by the way.
Mop it up. He's the Hove man,
Yes.
Well, so the problem they've had is either Musk really wasn't invited because of the pettiness, or he was, but we all think he wasn't, which means you're terrible at PR. But they've tried to clear it up here.
But he has said, apparently, that he is interested in doing business in England or in Britain.
Of course he is. It's like, they're not interested in Elon Musk. They're interested in Elon Musk's money. They want his money. And I think in America, he was banned from shooting off a rocket because they didn't like what he said in some things.
California,
In California. So I think the way...
There's been a lot of bad blood between him and California already, right? Because he's moving
out. And he complained, and there's lots of horrible people living in California.
It'd be marvellous if he resituated all his enterprises
He did a lot of them.
Silicon Fen or something like that.
He's moving it out.
Do you think we might have a rocket landing on its tail?
I think that's brilliant. When you see that done, you think the guy's
Portland
amazing.
Bill, that's where he should go.
I love the guy.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And Nigel Farage.
This is a very important story. We could probably get us in trouble. I mean, Nigel Farage shaken as a legal channel migrant coming to UK makes gun threat. So you may have seen the video because it's been on GBNews all night. This guy, he said, I'm going to come to... Well, he's already here, and he says, I'm going to pop, which doesn't sound great because he's indicating a gun. He also has a gun tattoo on his face, which makes you think, well, maybe not the kind of guy you want to run into. He says he's going to marry Farage's sister. And this all started because Farage was doing quite a long video about him saying, we've got this guy on TikTok, he's putting up all these videos. Is this the kind of person you want in the country? So he sees himself as a content creator who's been wronged. And so Farage called him out, and now he's called Farage out with a death threat, essentially.
And is he in the country?
He's now in the country, which is why I suddenly thought, should we do the story? Because I don't really want to get killed.
Yeah, he has been living in Stockholm, which is, of course, tells its own story as well now. I don't know. Lewis, what do you think? They should arrest this guy? It sounds like a death threat.
Is he in the country? They should just ship him back home. He looks like somebody you don't want in the country. I mean, what do you expect? We're in a state of war. People are going to get killed. People, he's the leader of the other side. Finally, we have a leader of another side. He's no longer a Tory.
I mean, I would regard having a tattoo of a Kalashnikov on your cheek as a disqualifying characteristic to begin, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's not even really on the cheek. It's like both. It's across the whole face. Kind of like as if the nose is like in front of it and then it carries on. Like it's quite artful in a way.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you saw a face tattoo on a person?
It was yours before you had it removed.
Yeah. Do you remember what that was?
Well, tears, I think, were the first I saw.
You mean Mike Tyson?
In Nice, in France.
No, I saw a guy with, tattoos who was outside the Boston Comedy Club in New York, and it was like, Well,
there are different kinds. I mean, the Maori ones, or, the Queequeg.
No, this
I
was
like Mike Tyson's. Well, that's what I always tell him.
Yeah.
When I don't risk
but
saying I don't like it.
it goes well with his voice, doesn't it? Because it's sort of, it makes you feel artful with him.
I'd love to see Lewis come up and say, Mike, I don't like your face tattoo, and just see what happened.
Yeah, I don't think he'd hit me.
He's going to make you love him. Secret hearing now from a Scottish trans changing room dispute. Lewis, I'm just glad poor old Alex Salmond isn't here to see this.
Oh, he called me an idiot. You know that.
I did not.
This is in the Times.
It's a man of profound judgment.
He did. He didn't get all upset. He did get upset like you've got.
Yeah. All my fault. You're just a normal, chilled-out entertainer.
That's why I'm here. I'm here because I'm absolutely a special person. People have seen me for over 3 years, like you said. Been here for 3 years. They know that I'm a special.
No, they don't know.
person.
They haven't seen you behind the scenes. Go on.
Come on,
and
Lewis.
Because they
get
want,
into
they
that
want...
trans woman's changing room, will you?
Anyway, so some woman walked into some trans woman or whatever that is. That's a guy. Went into a hospital, NHS Fife. That's where my ex-wife was from, Fife. Mm-hmm. Changing room, and this woman, a nurse, got offended by her and said, "I was offended. Not offended. I made a complaint. I don't want some guy walking." In her mind, it's a guy, and they fired her.
They use the word intact now about males that they used to use about dogs who hadn't been castrated.
Oh, interesting.
Extraordinary, intact.
Yes.
Such a
I'd like them
reversal.
to check me.
And then, of course, in paragraph 7, they get on to Isla Bryson. What do you think, Nick? Is this like?
It's horrible. It's shocking. I mean, the nurse was accused of bullying. I mean, she was suspended, then accused of bullying. Yeah. And this is the world we have now. You can
making a complaint. Just a complaint. She didn't bully the guy.
Well, no, exactly. Yeah, but how could it be bullying?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to get changed next to somebody who's a male.
You're a
because
woman.
It's intimidating, obviously.
And we have a bathroom here.
We do this story every night, but it's very important, of course. But what more can you add? It's complete insanity.
She turned her back. That was the extent of the offence she caused to this chap.
Really?
Yeah, she turned her back.
The nurse turned her back.
And he claimed, but she says in this it says using male pronouns for the trans woman.
Yeah.
I know that's such a weird Times way of going around it.
Yeah.
I know.
But what's interesting about this story is that it's going to be held. It's going to be. The NHS doesn't want this in public. They want a secret hearing. The nurse says, "I want it out in the open. I did this. I want." And that's what makes America the greatest country in the world. It's out in the open, generally speaking. There's no secret, whatever they call that.
Changing rooms?
No, not changing room. There's no. What do they call the thing with that?
In camera.
No, the secret. What do they call the secret?
Court.
When you're told you're not allowed to speak about somebody, and you're not allowed to speak about somebody. You're not allowed to speak about. What is that?
You mean an injunction?
Injunction, super injunction.
Yeah.
That supposedly some member of our government has against them for.
I
doing
don't believe
something.
one of those has been involved in this.